Foxtrot, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Foxtrot, calling DX on 12.
Victor Ocean 1 Charlie Alpha Lima. How about it, Mark?
Very good afternoon, Cal. Thank you for coming back to me. Victor Oscar 1 CAL. It's been a while, hasn't it? Been a while. I think we spoke to you at the beginning of this DX season, but it's a bit of a rough one. But you're nice and loud today, Cal. I'm using the IC-7300. 100 watts or whatever out the back of the radio, and the antenna's the usual 5/8 wave for the 10-metre band. But I'll give you a report on the next over, but you come booming through that time. That's not to say it was a big signal, but it was a big audio. Back to you, Cal. VO1CAL M0 JCF.
Mike 0 JCF VO1CAL. Now, I was listening for a while. I wouldn't want to interrupt your calling CQDX, dear Mark. I know we've spoken many times, and always a pleasure. But I was just listening along for a few minutes, and nobody came back. So, I want to let you know you're 5 and 9 in Newfoundland. I'm operating the ICOM 7300 like you, 100 watts on the wire, and everything is good on this end other than the weather. We got 7 degrees C. And rain, drizzle, fog. So radio day at this place this morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, VO1CAL M0 JCF, absolutely fantastic. You know, Cal, always jump in, even if you've heard me just starting to CQ. It's always worth jumping in straight away, and I've always got time for you. Just checking the online log here, and I see this is our contact number 10. So yeah, we've had 10 contacts, and in fact the last one was on the 19th of October. And it was killed by my local Santiago 5, QR Mexico. So whatever happened that day, QR Mexico must have come out. Quite possibly it was my kitchen lights, they're LED lights. I really should at some point change all of the bulbs that's in there for less noisy bulbs. But you're peaking 5 and 5 today. Absolutely great audio as always, but I was just saying as well, we worked 15 meters as well at the beginning of this year back in March, and we must have met up on 12 meters, then we QS wide to 15 meters. So I vaguely remember that. I vaguely remember doing that, but that's the story. Weather wise here, it's not the most fantastic day, Cal. I went out earlier with my wife. We went down into Kent for walking the dog. We managed to go into the pub and just have a coffee this time, a couple of coffees. Then we walked around one of our country lanes, and we know where there's some wild fig trees, and we managed to harvest a big bag of figs. So that was good. Temperature wise, it's about 10 degrees Celsius, and it's grey and cloudy today, but not raining. So that's the full story there, Cal. VO1CAL M0 JCF.
CAL, no problem at all there, Mark. You're 5 and 9. Doing a wonderful job here, guy. I don't have any noise on this end. But like you said about the lights there, I play a little bit of darts there, but nothing big or whatever, just something to pass away the time. And I got one of those lights there in the radio room for the dartboard light. And when I plug it in, like you said, the noise level keeps increasing as the bulb gets hotter. So, yes. Now, I don't use it that much. I don't have it on at all when I'm on the radio, but those light bulbs are very, I should say, not friendly to amateur radio. Go ahead.
Yeah, QSL. Well, we had a new ceiling fitted in the kitchen, and That was over a year ago now, maybe 18 months, 2 years ago. And of course, we decided to have recessed spotlights, 6 of them into the ceiling, which I fitted. And of course, nowadays it's difficult to buy incandescent bulbs. So, you know, we just went for dimmable spotlights, you know, like LED spotlight bulbs. Is it GU9 is the fitting in the UK, something like that. But anyway, and I also got a dimmer, and the dimmer is designed for LED lights. And I remember the first time I went to the radio and I thought, wow, 10 meters, 12 meters, I've got some severe noise there, and I realized it was that. So it's the dimmer, but you know, I've heard that if you change the bulbs for those made by Philips, apparently Philips LED bulbs don't cause that RF noise. So at some point I will get round to it, but you know, I just live with it, and I tell people not to turn the lights on in the kitchen. They have to cook in the dark, and that's the way it is. But you know, I've got some neighbours who have either got halogen lights or LED lights. They're quite new neighbours, and they did a lot of extensive building work. And he's a koi carp keeper. You know, he's got this big building he built in the back garden, and he keeps all of his koi carp and other fish in there. And I suspect that he's got automatic lights there, because his QRM seems to come and go with the lights coming on in his back garden. And you know, for me, this is just a hobby. All right, it's a hobby that can sometimes be destroyed by QR Mexico, but at the other side of the coin, I've got lots of other hobbies, and if I can't operate, then I'll go and do something else, like, you know, restoring, or I'll be home brewing, or I'll just go off and do one of my other hobbies. And the other thing we've been doing the last few weeks is some extensive DIY in the house, decorated mainly. So, you know, we've been systematically going through every room in the house, and we're down to the last 2 bedrooms now, both my daughter's bedrooms. One of them she's moved out, so it's a spare room, so we're just doing that. And then my youngest daughter's bedroom, and once we've done that, the whole house has been decorated. And of course that probably means going back to the beginning and starting again. VO1CAL M0JCF.
VO1 Charlie Alpha Lima. Yeah, no doubt. There's always something to do there, Matt. You can always go portable. I don't know how far you're out in the country a little bit, but you can always go portable and operate out of the car or whatever. There's always something you can work around if it gets too bad, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're quite right about that. And you know what? I get by really well, Cal. You know, whether it's 10 meters, 12 meters on the vertical, or the lower bands on my long wire antenna, you know, I seem to do all right. I'm not overly fussed. I mean, yeah, it can sometimes spoil it. Say if I'm having a conversation with you, somebody flicks a switch, and then, you know, you're still there, but you're in that Santiago 5 or 6 noise, you know. So you know, it's just one of those things. I can live with it. At my age, we've been through many things, you know, and a little bit of QR Mexico on a radio isn't something that's really gonna put me off. You know, I just come back to it another day. I normally find weekdays are great. Now I'm retired, you know, weekdays, Monday to Friday, most people are at work, and the only people that, you know, are on the radio are retired people or out of work people, and they can't afford to have expensive lights switched on. So you know, I look at it that I'm quite pragmatic in my way of thinking. But you know, as I say, got lots of other things to do, and if I can't use the radio, I just go and do something else. It's not, you know, the end of the world. and I've just been talking to my wife about clearing out the garage again. I've got lots and lots of motorcycle parts out there that really, because I don't ride or race motorcycles anymore, it's time to maybe have a clear out, be quite ruthless, and just put it all on the market, you know, on eBay or somewhere like that, and just get it sold off. But I know what happened. It means I'll probably end up buying another radio. Back to you.
Mike Terrell, Julia Charlie Fox for VO1CAL. That's quite interesting. As you know, I've been into motorcycles for pretty well in my life, and I sold the motorcycle in June month. Decided to give it up. At 71 years old, I sold the Honda Goldwing, and I don't think I'll be getting into motorcycles anymore, dear Mark. But yes, you know, if you're not using it, dear, sell it and pick up a little bit of money and invest it into something for the radio or for the XYL or whatever. As you know, a little bit of money will not go astray there, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know, but we have to be careful because the station manager may well just borrow it permanently. But we'll see. It's yeah, it's literally, it's motorcycle parts now. There's nothing complete down there. So, you know, it's front ends of motorcycles and wheels and mud guards, and because of course I used to drag race. So did my youngest daughter. We used to drag race motorcycles, so we always had spares. And we had a very good friend who's only a few miles from me. He's an expert fabricator, and he used to build our chassis for us. So, you know, he would build the chassis and we would bolt everything on and then go and race them, and you know, so on and so forth. But I'll tell you what I was doing just before I came on to 12 meters, Cal. I was on 10 meters, and there's some AM activity going on 10 meters. The last few weeks I have actually been operating 10 meters AM and FM. And in fact, on this band, normally around about 24,985, thereabouts, there's usually someone slightly west and south of you. What state is he in? I think he's in Utah. Yeah, so I think he's a Whiskey 7 in Utah, and he quite often operates 12 meters AM around about where we are, or just above us. And he uses vintage gear. So, yeah, I was just on 10 meters talking to someone in Ohio on 10 meters AM. And it just got me thinking, you know, would you like to, I know we work 12 and we work 15 meters SSB, but would you like to maybe give AM a quick go now on this frequency? I can't see that we're going to disturb anyone or upset anyone, but you know, it's the all mode part of the band, so there's no reason for us to tread on anyone's toes. But if you want to give AM a go so that we can tick that one off in the box, I don't know if well, you've got the same radio as me, so hopefully you know, you'll be okay with that. It means we'll both be running with 25 watts carrier and whatever modulation you can get it up to as a peak envelope power. So I don't know, it's up to you. Would you like to try 12 meters AM and see if we can upset someone? Back to you.
No problem. No problem. It's to go on this end. Okay. You switch to AM. I see what comes around. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to switch to AM now. And, excuse me, and if I don't hear you or you don't hear me, we'll come back to SSB. Okay, switching to AM. This is Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie Foxtrot, calling Victor, Oscar 1, Charlie Alpha Lima, 12 meters AM. Are you there, Cal? Okay, VO1CAL M0JCF. Cal, I know you're there, but I do have on AM a Santiago 3 QR Mexico, and I know you're there in the noise, I just can't hear you. So I'll listen one more time and then I'll go back to SSB. So listening for you again, Cal. VO1CAL M0JCF. Yeah, got you nice and clear that time. Also 5 and 5. So it looks like the QSB drops you into my noise floor and I can't hear you. But when you come up, you are 5 and 5 on AM, Cal. Back to you. Okay, VO1CAL M0JCF. Cal, I'm going to go back to SSB because I heard the Roger, 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 and then absolutely nothing after that. So going back to SSB. Yeah, VO1CAL M0JCF.
Very fortunate, Mark. I don't have any noise. Go ahead.
Yeah, had you 5 and 5 in the clear on AM, but when the QSB dropped you a few S points, that was it. I had Santiago 3 noise floor on AM, and say it dropped you into it, and it just wasn't coming across. But it was a great experiment, and I'm very pleased we've done it, and we can log you again in QRZ. So that will be number 11, because we did 10 on SSB, and so that will be number 11 will be the count for that one. But absolutely fantastic. And as I say, there could have been people that were tuning around and wondered what's going on. You know, you get the band police, they jump in and you know, they like to cause havoc because they believe you're doing something wrong on such a small band. And I suppose, you know, if it was really crowded, I wouldn't suggest it at this time. But no, it was great to hear you. And as I say, 5 and 5 in the clear. I was very happy with that. Back to you.
Yeah, no problem there, Mark. You just said, you know, sorry to experiment every now and then. No doubt there. Frank, no, you're sounding good. So I had no problem. You never went under 5 and 5. And as you said, the brand here is very, very quiet. Sometimes it's too quiet. Because the stations in Indonesia and other places that are here, early in the morning, sometimes I call them, and they don't hear me, and they're probably giving me a 5 and 4, 5 and 5. But I know those guys are probably running a couple kilowatts and whatever. But, you know, sometimes I hear too much, right? And nobody can hear me, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's quite frustrating sometimes. I'm calling CQDX AM on 10 meters, and I know that I'm getting to people because they're replying, but I'm just not hearing them. I mean, it doesn't help that, you know, I've got quite a basic antenna. I've now decided, I think we talked about this before, but I've now decided that the 2 meter 9 element 2 meter beam is coming down, and I'm going to replace it with a 2 element Moxon, you know, just a basic a Moxon antenna, just to work the DX on 10 and possibly 12 meters, just so I, you know, open up those horizons, give me a little bit of forward gain, and to drop the noise off the back. My neighbour, who causes me QRM, I know he's very, very close, but he's east of me, and of course I like to beam west, so, you know, we'll see how it goes. Likewise, when I'm beaming across the North Pole, you know, to hit the west coast of USA and Canada, you know, there might be some advantage there. Plus, it's horizontal, and I have noticed when I change from my vertical to my horizontal wire antenna, my long wire antenna, a lot less noise. And I know that vertical antennas are inherently noisy anyway, So, you know, I think there'll be a double-edged sword there. One, the antenna will be horizontal, and two, it's a reflector with, you know, a dipole. So, yeah, I may be able to sort of do away with some of the QR Mexico from behind me. And we don't know, it's something I've got to try, but I want to try it before we go through Sunspot Maximum next year and then come down the other side. You know, if I can get a few years, 2-3 years of use out of a 10-meter Moxon, that's what I'll do. And then probably I'll extend it out to a 15-meter band Moxon, yeah, just to give me that capability. Back to you.
Well, good luck with that. Mr. says you're doing great with what you got here, so I'm sure the Moxon will really penetrate a little bit more when you get it adjusted, dear Mark. Back here with the weather conditions off the North Atlantic, I stick to the wire, dear Mark, because, boy, I'll tell you, we had wind the other night again up to 102, I believe. We don't mind 100, but when we get up to 130 and over, like I said, then you don't want too much up into here. Coming off the ocean back this way where I'm to. So I'm going to stick to the wire only. I got 2 in-fed wires up there. This one here is 25 feet above the ground, and the other one is only 12 foot above the ground there. And one is commercial. I'm on the commercial one now, made by a company, My Antennas. And the other in-fed, it's a homemade 9-to-1 I did myself there, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, it sounds good. I'll tell you what, you've got good success as well with your wire antenna. Now, I use the 5/8 wave on 10 and 12 meters, but I've got a wire antenna. It's 90 feet long. It is a random wire with a 9-to-1 like yours. It's only about 20-25 feet from the ground, and I just do not get very good performance at all on 10 or 12 meters from that wire antenna. But once again, I'm just looking. Yep, it's all wired in. I've got the antenna switch in front of me. I could try switching. I think we might have tried this before, you know. I'm pretty sure we tried this before. But what I could do is switch over to the wire antenna, retune, which will take a few seconds for the internal tuner to pick it up, and just to see if we can swap reports. One, I can give you a reception report if I can hear you at all, and two, you could give me maybe a transmission report as well. So if you're ready, I'll swap antennas, and once again, if I don't hear you, I'll just swap straight back and retune on the vertical. So how about it there, Cal? Back to you.
No problem, Mark. You go ahead.
Okay, VO1CAL M0JCF. Cal, how'd you copy me on the long wire antenna? Yeah, roger that. And you're 5 and 1 to me. 5 and 1. Right, I'm just going to switch back. Stand by. Okay, back on the vertical now. Yeah, you were 5 and 1 to me on the wire, 5 and 1. And as I suspected, absolutely zero noise, no QR Mexico at all on the long wire. But of course, your signal was appreciably lower. But you know, if that was your signal, even on my vertical, you know, I wouldn't have heard you. But I heard you nice and clear there, Cal. Back to you.
Have gone down quite a bit, but no problem to copy on the wire, and you're doing great. Like you said, 5 and 3 is not bad there. Go ahead.
Yeah, as I say, it's for me, it's the receive capability. I'm okay transmitting 5 and 3. That doesn't bother me because, you know, if you're hearing me, that's the important part. But yeah, it got quite marginal. As I say, you were 5 and 1 to me. And with the QSB, if it had gone any lower, you may have dropped down to a readability 4 or even a 3. So anyway, I've got the vertical. And it will be good as well. As I say, it's just a case of me building it, you know, building the Moxon and taking the 9-element 2-meter beam down. I just got to get the time to do it. At the moment, as I say, the house DIY work that I'm doing, I want to get all of that out of the way before Christmas. Once all of that out of the way, then, you know, I can settle down, build the Moxon and swap them over. So that will be quite interesting as well, because I'll be able to do a 3-way comparison on that. I'll be able to, you know, try the, you know, the wire antenna, the vertical antenna, and then the Moxon. But I've heard very good reports from the Moxon, and of course, being that they're folded, you know, they're physically a lot smaller than, say, a 2-element beam for 10 meters. So we'll see how that one goes. Back to you.
Okay, Mark, no problem. I'm looking at your radio room here now, and you've got quite the collection, no doubt, of pretty well everything there, no doubt. Question for you. Is that a commercial vertical antenna, or is it an homemade one? Go ahead.
No, it's commercial, and it's an old CB antenna, Citizens Band antenna. It's a classic 5/8 wave silver rod. I think the design goes right back to probably the 1970s. I remember when CB was legalised in England, well, England, Scotland, Wales in 1981. Suddenly a forest of GPA silver rod antennas just appeared, both half wave and 5/8 wave, and they just, you know, like appeared literally overnight. So yeah, my one is made by High Gain, and it's the High Gain Venom. And there are a few of them around. There's the High Gain Venom, the Sirio Venom, you know, but, you know, everyone's making them. And I bought this one 5 or 6 years ago, maybe more, because the one I had before actually bent in the wind when it crimped. It actually crimped, so you couldn't straighten it anymore. So I've had this one probably 5 years or more. And I find, you know, for the footprint that I've got, it's very small. And the base of it is only at gutter level on my 2-story house. So you get the idea, you know, it's not that obtrusive. I mean, it's 22 feet long, but, you know, as things go, when it comes to antennas, it's not obtrusive at all. But yeah, it's a very common antenna over this side of the pond. Back to you.
Okay, excellent. Now, I'm very familiar with 10-meter verticals. The Antron 99, the IMAX, and Radio Shack back this way years ago at a 5/8 wave and so on. So I'm quite familiar with the fiberglass ones here. And over the years, when we were in 11-meter, I had Stardusters, and the list goes on there, Mark. So very familiar with that type of antenna. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you know, the Antron 99 and a few of them like that. The was it the Gain Master? There's the Gain Master. There's the other one is the 2016. I forget who makes that. Yeah, they're all very, very popular with the 11-meter crowd. And you know, and everyone says, oh no, you need this Gain Master, you need this A99. Don't get a silver rod, they're rubbish. And I think to myself, you know, when you sit there and you think, I'm not going to bother arguing with people anymore, because I don't know, I seem to be getting around the world very well with just my aluminium rod. So yeah, all I had to do for 10 meters was just reduce. I slid the top section in just slightly, and I use it on 12 meters. Of course, electrically as well as physically, it's the wrong length. but you know, the internal tuner on the radio takes up the slack, and I'm probably losing a few dB of gain, you know, so but it works, you know. I mean, we've just had what, the best part of 30 minutes rag chewing on SSB and AM out of apparently an antenna that's absolute rubbish, so I'm quite happy with it. Back to you.
Charlie Fox, Charlie Fox. Yeah, no problem. You're doing great. And we're having you around 7 as well. I did operate from 9. I should operate from 10 meter right down to 20 meter and hit using force. But back this way, we had a windstorm and everything broken up. And I went back to the wires. 12 and 15 and 17 there now. But overall, I was busy. You guys are looking back that way because you got quite a few people into amateur radio, and you got radio shops. You can pretty well buy everything. But here in Newfoundland, we don't have anything. We got the Hornet Ontario from USA. And what kills it, Mark, is the shipping. The shipping is very, very expensive. To give you an idea, I bought 2 4-inch barrel connectors from Ontario. The price was $20, and the shipping was $24. Mark, go ahead.
Do you know what? I feel your pain there. I do feel the pain. I've looked at buying stuff from the USA, and you know, it says, yeah, you think that's really good value for money, 25 UK pounds, and then you look at the postage costs and it's like 65, 70 UK pounds. You know, it's cost 3 times the amount in postage as it does for the product. And what I've done in the past is I've got a friend who lives in Florida, and I have anything shipped over to him, and then when I visit, so long as I don't need it quickly, when I visit I just go over there and fill up my suitcase. But yeah, I do know what it's all about when it comes to the extortionate shipping costs. Back to you.
Yeah, no doubt there, Mark. And it's going to get worse. Canada Post on this end went on strike yesterday. For higher wages and whatever, and so on. So we're going to have to pay more. Just that. If they get a raise, which I'm sure they will, we guys are going to end up on the bad end of the stick again there, Mark, for sure. Yeah, it's very expensive. So like I said, I operate wires and so on. But like I said, everything we need, we got to order. And it's just gone too far there, Mark. Anyhow, but that's all right. I'll run the wire like you now. I'll operate what I got. I'll try to make a few contacts. And I do enjoy the amateur radio part of it. And I'm getting older. I'm 71 now, 71 on 10. And so the hobby is a great pastime, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm not far behind you, Cal. I'll be 62 in February. As I say, I was very, very fortunate that I could retire early. So, you know, I've got plenty of time for radio. I've got plenty of time for my oil painting. I've got plenty of time for metal detecting and, as I say, several other hobbies. And then, of course, you know, I've got the family home that's got to be maintained. And I haven't done too much of that the last few years. So that's why, you know, recently we decided to get everything done so that, you know, when we get to the point where I can't do it anymore, you know, physically, you know, parts of me have worn out, then you know, it's done. You know, we've discussed this just recently, that, you know, we're not getting any younger, and I've got to say that DIY, you know, house maintenance, that sort of thing, isn't my favourite hobby. So like you know, it's nice when you get these moments where you could just sit back, put your feet up and talk absolute rubbish to somebody, some complete stranger halfway around the world. VO1CAL M0JCF.
M0JCF, VO1CAL, no doubt to me. Yeah, it's great to pass away the time, especially like a day like this. We got wind and rain on this end there, Mark, so it's a great thing to be able to key up the radio and so on. So far this morning, I've spoken into Colorado and the USA and Spain and Ontario and Scotland, and now yourself in England. And, you know, it's just wonderful to pass away the time there, Mark, no doubt. Well, I'm going to let you go, work another little bit of DX. I think we've had our time, I'm not quite sure. We logged you in at 1450. There, Mark, 1450 I logged you in. So we've done good, no interruptions, and even tried AM, I made the contact, so
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's been a great old ragchew. I'm timing it about 35 minutes so far. But, you know, you can't beat these. I mean, it's the weekend. The 10-metre band is absolutely full of competitions, giving 5 and 973. And, you know, I'm okay with that. I have absolutely no problems with competitions. I've got no problems with competitions taking up the whole of the 10-metre band. And when you look at it, they're all crowded between 28,350 and 28,550. So it's not like they're even taking up the whole of the band. And you know, if it's a country that I've never worked, and I think just to get it in QRZ, you know, I'll work that country. I'll give them a 5 and 9 and the cordial 73. But you cannot beat a good old ragchew. And that's why I said at the beginning of this, Cal, you know, if you hear me CQing, regardless of whether I've worked anyone or not, you know, just jump straight in. I'm there to talk to people. I'm not there to just keep on calling, you know. It's the fun is in the response, not the actual calling itself. But anyway, yeah, I'll let you go. I'll let you have the rest of your Saturday. Where are we now? We've gone, well, we're at 3:30 p.m. So we're halfway through the afternoon now. And a quarter of the way, I suppose, through the weekend. But, you know, for me, every day's a weekend these days. So it's just my poor lovely wife. She has to still work Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So, but luckily she doesn't have to get up early on a Monday. She doesn't start work until the afternoon on a Monday, which is good. So, you know, we get to spend all that extra time together. And as I say, have a great weekend. Look forward to hearing you on that wire antenna again. As I say, very, very soon. I don't know, hopefully this side of Christmas, I'll have that Moxon up, and we can try on the Moxon as well. That'll be quite interesting, because you're a good standard, you know. You've given me an idea of what your signal's like on the vertical. You give me an idea of what the signal is like on the long wire antenna. And so I've got something to judge it by. And that's actually a good thing. I know the propagation can be different days, but you know, it gives me sort of a rough standard, and I know what to expect. Okay, 73 to you and yours. I'll make a few more calls, and if no one comes back, I'm quite happy with today's logbook, and I'll just do it again another day. So all the very best. For taking me 5,000 words to say goodbye. So I will finish with goodbye. Take care, mate. VO1CAL M0JCF.
M0JCF, all right, I look forward to catching you soon. And anytime you get that antenna up and running, drop me an email. with a time and a skid, and we'll certainly give you a report on that new maximum when you get it up here, Mark. By the way, it's 3 minutes before noon. Coming up on 3 minutes before noon on this, back this way. I don't know if I ever told you, we got an half an hour time zone, Mark. Newfoundland, Labrador, VO1, I should say, VO2, we operate on an half an hour time zone. So it's approximately 3 minutes before noon. So I think I'll soon go and get a lunch to a Mark. Thank you ever so much. You and yours, the very best. And look forward to many more like this here, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, cheers for that, and thanks for that update. You know what, I've got lots of friends that live in Canada that I've known way back to the 1970s, and no one has ever told me that Newfoundland has got a half-hour time zone. But yeah, I suppose you are straight out in the Atlantic compared to the rest of the eastern seaboard. It sort of makes sense, but I didn't realise that they would actually go to far as to give you that half an hour. Okay then, go and have some lunch, go and have a cup of coffee, and I'll speak to you again soon. That's very interesting, that. I've made a note of that in my logbook. Okay, and I'll say goodbye again for now. Take care. QRZ, this is Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie, Foxtrot on 12.
Indian Mike, I can stand by while you call DX.
Yeah, stand by, Peter. Let's just see if someone else pops their head up over the parapet. If not, we'll have a quick go, and then I'll probably go QRT anyway. But QRZ, this is Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie, Foxtrot. Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie, Foxtrot. Mike 0, Juliet, Charlie, Foxtrot. Looking for DX on 12 metres. Okay, nothing is heard. G4 OIM M0 JCF. How you doing, Peter?
All right, Mark. Haven't heard you for a long time. Was it